Hey, it's Conrad Thompson, and you're listening to Be the Man. And of course, we couldn't do it without the Hall of Famer himself. Ladies and gentlemen, the greatest of all time, the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. Rick, how are you, man?
I'm good. Good, man. Thank you. How are you guys?
Man, better than I deserve.
I'm back on Raw.
Here today. How about that?
Huh?
Well, listen, let's talk about it. I have to admit, I was driving on Saturday. I didn't get to see all of Crown Jewel. I did get to see the main event. I want to talk about that in a minute. But first,
hell of a show.
I saw some reports that you were not included in the open for Crown Jewel. I missed that. What's up with that?
I have no idea. But I and you know what? Here's the deal. And I don't care what anybody says. I mean, Arn Anderson was giving me a lecture about kissing WWE's ass at the last match. That is the biggest compliment you can ever get as a wrestler, is to be on the opening of anything that WWE has.
Of course, yeah.
It's not kissing ass for me to say thank you once or to say thank you twice. One of the most difficult things I've ever been through in my life personally, aside from health issues, is having 85,000 people tell me within 2 minutes I wasn't on the opening of Raw or SmackDown. After that bullshit from Plane Ride to Hell came out, which is all bullshit, which it explained thoroughly in my new documentary. I mean, thoroughly. I am calling some people out big time.
Wow.
But
so,
to answer your question, if they had left me off, I wouldn't mind it, because I've had my time. It's not my time anymore. But it is something that means a lot to me personally, as it does to everybody else that's on it. And I'm sure they would tell you that if they were being honest with you. It's a big deal. You're seen worldwide 3 times a week.
And as you pointed out on social media, you were back on Monday Night Raw, right?
Yes. I'm very happy to be. Thankful. Yes. Kissing ass. Thankful.
I love that we got a fired up Ric Flair today. Today it's
I'm serious. It's a big deal to me. It was.
Well, yeah, it should be. Yeah, it's a big deal for anybody.
Yeah, any wrestler that says they don't want to be on the opening of a WWE show is a lying son of a bitch.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's the biggest platform with the biggest audience.
Thank you.
The biggest show. Yeah. Well, why would you not? That's the mountaintop.
It's a huge honor to be there and be part of it. God damn it. And think about this. How many father-daughters are on the opening of anything?
Well, there you go.
No, I mean,
said.
Have you ever, never in the history of the business, I don't know of any father-son.
Right.
Do you?
No, not right off the top of my head, although we should probably fix that with Dusty and Cody.
I take that back. I didn't know. But I don't think they're on it yet.
I don't think they are either. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Hopefully that will change.
Yeah. As of right now, I'm lucky enough.
Hey, let's talk about, what's happening in WWE. This past weekend, they had a big show in Saudi Arabia. Man, what a spectacle. You can see the money they put into that show. The presentation and the production is just out of this world. But the main event is what I want to talk about. Of course, Jake Paul is Logan Paul's younger brother. And just 1 week ago, he went the distance with Anderson Silva, won on points, and actually knocked Anderson down in the 8th round. And I know that a lot of people have discounted what Jake Paul has done because he's a YouTuber or he's this or he's that. But he's consistently knocked guys out.
He's a tough guy.
He didn't knock out Anderson, but he knocked him down. And this is a guy who was known for...
And just to get in the ring, these guys that knock him, he's a tough kid.
Yes, he is.
Only thing I've ever said about him was he doesn't want to call out Mike Tyson.
Right. Well, that's
who I see on a regular basis, and Mike is in good shape.
Yeah. Well, so the idea that he was in Saudi Arabia got me excited because I thought, man, where are they going with this? This could be really awesome. And then we saw a performance from his older brother, Logan Paul, who's one of the most influential YouTube creators. I mean, he is the definition of the term influencer.
Yes.
And my goodness, in his 3rd match, he main evented a big time pay-per-view with a Wrestlemania level presentation in Saudi Arabia against Roman Reigns. And I think it's pretty fair to say most people agree, Rick, and this is a big ask here. Do you agree that he's the best 3-match wrestler of all time? I mean, to have that level of performance after just 2 other matches, unbelievable.
Believe it or not, I can answer that question for easily. The answer is yes. It's either him or Pat McAfee.
Right.
And I think he might be better than Pat McAfee. I mean, when I watched Pat McAfee in NXT, I could not believe it. And everything he's done when Pat wrestled too, for not having that time, those repetitions, and I'm not sure how much practice is put into it, but I mean, they're athletic as hell. And once again, I'm telling you, both those Paul brothers are tough kids.
Yes, they are.
Just to get in the ring with Anderson Silva, you have to be tough.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Or Woodley, any of those guys.
Right.
Just don't get in the ring with Mike Tyson.
Well, that's good advice. Whether it's
Mike is running 5 miles a day, man.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, Mike's right. He lives in Boca Raton now.
Do you think he wants to do one more?
I don't know. I don't think so. No, but he his daughter is such an advanced tennis player. They moved down there for a higher level instruction.
Oh man, that's fantastic.
So he's really committed to her. He and Kiki.
Let's jump into Ask an Age, but before we do, I do want to ask about 2 things that were pretty topical. One is Roman Reigns, man. How do you see this reign ending? There's lots of debate, lots of people guessing. Could it be this guy? Could it be that guy? And I actually have a bunch of discussions with people who are in and around the business where I'll argue, I don't think Roman needs a world title if that's what they're aiming for at WrestleMania. I think since it's a 2-night WrestleMania, maybe you put the title match on Saturday night and you put Roman on Sunday night. That match is so big, though, I don't think it has to have a title. Do you think Roman need a title at WrestleMania if that's the direction? And if not, who would you like to see in a title match at WrestleMania?
Well, I don't think personally it's a given that The Rock's going to do it.
Me either.
I think that's and as much as he might respect Roman, which I'm sure they do, all those guys, it's a brotherhood like no other. I don't think The Rock would come back and do a favor. Why would he?
Right.
Tomorrow morning, he go back to his acting career with a loss? I don't think so. I don't see that happening. And it would do the company no good to put the belt on The Rock because he's not going to be a full-time wrestler ever again.
So
I personally, as I said before, would like to see if the Rock happens, that's great. If it doesn't, I would like it to be Cody Rhodes.
You want Cody to beat Roman?
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought those matches that Cody had with Seth Rollins were off the hook.
They were. I agree.
Yeah, Seth really did a good job getting him over.
Seth has had a phenomenal year this year. Yeah. Quietly one of the better years, I think, this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if we think it's going to be Cody who's going to be the world champ, let's say Roman does happen on Sunday night, but to your point, it's not for the title. I think we both agree on that. Saturday night, Cody versus whom?
No, what I'm saying is I don't know. I don't think it's a given that The Rock's even going to be there.
I got you.
I see him attending the show because he lives in LA now, but
right.
I think they're hanging that out there, but shit, they're sold out without it being The Rock.
Right.
I mean, and it's going to be spectacular again.
What do you think the other main event will be? So if you think one of the nights, probably Sunday night, is Cody Roman for the title, what do you reckon Saturday could?
I hope it's Bianca Belair and the Queen.
How about that? That'd be awesome, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it would be phenomenal.
I'd be all about that.
That could be The Rock Austin.
I don't mean to put you on the spot, but everybody in wrestling is talking about, hey, what's next for Charlotte? When will we see her again? Without it giving us any spoilers, you think we'll see her before Royal Rumble?
To be very honest with you, I have no idea. Yeah. She keeps everything to herself.
Yeah.
I know she's talking to the company, but I don't know any more than that.
Right.
If I did, I couldn't tell you anyway. But she doesn't trust me to tell me anything because I can't keep my mouth shut.
Well, a lot of fans I know created a little bit of chatter because I guess there was an appearance she had that was canceled, and I know Andrade
Yeah, it's
mentioned
with me.
recently that she had some personal stuff that she was working on. Now, you and I know that physically she's fine, emotionally she's fine. It's her business to share, but I guess what I wanted to sort of set the record straight on, there's nothing wrong with Charlotte Flair. She's just fine. So,
Oh, absolutely. She's
yeah,
probably in the best shape of her life.
yeah,
I think
I'm
it's
positive of that.
probably a mutual decision between her and the company as to when she comes back.
Yeah,
It'll be, I would assume, under the perfect circumstance. She's the best wrestler. She's the greatest female wrestler of all time.
without question.
And like I
in
said
my
before, to have two legit world-class athletes, I mean, you could write the story itself. NCAA track star, I mean, you know, strength, coordination, athleticism, Bianca Belair, Charlotte Flair. It's a main
Yeah.
event in itself.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
Well, let's
And
talk
you know
about
the women. I would think that it would be a drastic change for them not to feature the women in some capacity.
right.
That's the match. In my opinion, that's the match.
Yeah, I think it's more important now than ever that we do have female representation. Speaking of which, that actually became a hot button issue the last few days. I guess there's going to be a parting of the ways of Nick Aldis and Billy Corgan with the NWA. And Aldis, I guess took issue with the way some of the NWA's women's only show went down. You and I actually happened to be in town for that in St. Louis last year. Thought it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
It feels like a personality issue. I'm not sure. I don't have any inside information, but a lot of people are now curious what's next for Nick Aldis and Mickie James. A, what do you think of Nick? And B, do you think they land somewhere together, in your opinion?
Well, I think Nick is fabulous. I don't think Mickie wants to wrestle anymore.
Right.
She
I
doesn't
can
need
see
to.
her being like,
she's a great mother. She's done everything there is to do. She's probably go in the Hall of Fame this year. She's going to be highly thought of and regarded as one of the greatest of all time forever. I mean, she's going to be in the top 10 or 15 girls of all time.
yeah, I would agree
That's
with
saying
that.
a lot. I mean, when you think of the numbers of hundreds and maybe even like thousands over the years,
Yeah.
to be in the top 15 or 20 top women in the world, and Mickie James is right there. I can name
think,
the top girls right off the top of my head. I mean, Trish, Lita, Charlotte. I mean, Bailey, Becky. I mean, I could give me a minute to think about it, but I could name the top 20 because I obviously followed a lot since Ashley's been involved,
Right.
or Charlotte rather.
I think it would be really cool to see them as a duo. Let's let her be sensational Sherry to his Macho King Randy Savage or something like that.
Who's that?
Could see Mickie James.
Oh,
I think
yeah,
she'd be phenomenal
absolutely.
in that role.
Yeah, she'd be great too. Now, Nick, I tell you, he's not only a good performer, he's a great kid too, man. A great young man.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
He carries himself like a champion. He dresses great. He conducts himself he's perfect. And why he's not with the WWE, I have no idea.
Well, that's what everybody's debating. When his contract is up at the end of the year, do you think he shows up in AEW or WWE or somewhere else?
Whichever one gets him, it would be one of the other AEW or WWE, and whichever one gets him will be very lucky.
Yeah, I gotta think it's WWE. That to me just makes the most sense.
Yeah, he brings a lot of professionalism wherever he goes.
Well, and then the next big question in all of this is what's next for the NWA? Nick Aldis has really been the centerpiece for the NWA for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Now this is going to create opportunity for other guys down there. And of course, they got a big pay-per-view coming up. I think it's this weekend. So it's going to be Tyrus and Matt Cardona and Trevor Murdoch for the NWA World Title. I think Cardona has done a phenomenal job reinventing himself, but If you were in charge of the NWA, is there a talent that sticks out to you that you would try to build around?
Well, I like Murdoch and Cardona, so I'll do it. I mean, Murdoch literally, he does remind me of Dick Murdoch a little bit, you know. Um, he's legitimately country and all that. I mean, he's entertaining. Cardona, it looked like $1 million.
Yep.
You know, I just think I think that Billy just looks back and says, you know, I got to give it to the best guy here and figure out who I can have him wrestle and make money with. And
Right.
I don't know enough about the company to know what the roster is.
So Rick, let's ask about something else. There's been a little video pop up is teasing that she's got a big announcement sooner rather than later. You were rattling off some of the top women in wrestling history. Certainly Sasha Banks is on the list.
Oh yeah.
Would you be surprised to see her show back up in WWE, or do you think she'll land somewhere else?
Oh, I don't think Sasha will go anywhere but WWE if she goes back at all.
Yeah.
You know, I spoke to her about 3 weeks ago. She was with Stephen K at Mojo Rawley's wedding. They FaceTime and I said hi to her. You know,
That's cool.
I think she's done well with her money, made a lot of money, and you know, God, I didn't mean to leave her off. My God, she's one of to me, she's the top 3 of all time.
She's really, really good.
Yeah, she's really, really good. She's like I said, she's Steamboat. Ashley's me. I mean,
I love
doesn't get
that.
any better than that. And they every time they touch each other, it's a great. They don't have a regular match.
Right.
It just gets better every time. So but I don't know the answer to that. But I wouldn't think that she'd ever leave WWE.
It would be hard for me to imagine that she would too, especially with the regime change. You know, Hunter, when he was running NXT, he really made Sasha and Charlotte NXT main events for the first time.
Absolutely.
That was a big deal. So
Yeah,
I tend to
absolutely.
think
the first one being in San Jose.
Yeah, phenomenal.
They tore it down.
Hey, so let's talk about the well, I would say the elephant in the room, but I often joke that if cats have 9 lives, Jeff Jarrett somehow has 10. You and I find ourselves watching the damn AEW Dynamite program last week, and what do you know? He's out there crushing dudes with guitars all over again. What a resurgence he's had. Who would have ever thought in the year 2022 Jeff Jarrett would be working pay-per-view matches against Ric Flair, and it certainly feels like Sting might be on the horizon. What is it? 1999 WCW or 2022? What in the world's going on?
It's the push he got from the last match. Come on. No last match with Jeff, no
God.
AEW. Are you kidding me? Let's get serious.
I love it. Well, maybe
he got
you
more
need
PR
to get
in that goddamn match than he's ever going to get.
I think he.
I'm happy
owes
for
you
him,
an
man.
age commission.
I'll tell you who else was pretty good in a role. I mean, Karen was fabulous. Karen should be working somewhere too.
Totally agree.
Oh man.
By the way, shout out to their boy Cody. Just turned 16.
And,
Look out.
And if I recollect, your wife was not going to shut up a few people too. She might just hire on for one managed Sting one night.
She's pretty feisty. I'll tell you that.
That was great.
Pretty feisty.
The best part of the match was Karen and Megan. Nobody cared about the rest of it. They went from showing Kid Rock to Megan and Karen.
It was crazy. She was a woman possessed. Well, listen, we've done enough of Conrad asking Rick. Let's let Francis Reyes ask a question. He wants to know, Rick, do you have a favorite robe design or color that you like?
The blue one. The
blue
blue Starcade or that blue with this
tassels.
Yeah. That was priceless. God, it was beautiful.
Here's one from Jackson Styles. I'd love to know your favorite cities to wrestle outside of the U.S. and why is one of them Melbourne, Australia?
Because there's a hotel there called the God, I can't think of the name of the hotel. It's got 5 of the greatest bars in the world, 5 great restaurants, gambling.
Oh, wow. There you go.
You never have to leave the hotel. Actually, Sydney's my favorite place, but that damn Melbourne's live too. Australia, just period, is live. Takes a long time to get there, but it's fun when you land. Hey, mate. First thing they say to you is, hey, mate, how about a beer? Hey, mate, can I buy you one? Hey, mate. Hell yeah, mate.
I love it. There's a rumor that I might be there next year. So
God, I hope
that works
so.
up happening. Yeah, me and you got to
I heard there
right.
might be some Ric Flair drip there next year.
Well, maybe we'll have to take the show on the road.
Hey, next week I'll be sending out a post with me and Evander and Mike. I made the marriage happen. Evander and Mike made a commercial, awesome. Man. I made the hookup, and I'll be with them next in Vegas. So I'll be going viral again, smoking a joint with Mike and Evander.
I love it. That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Logan Lee says, hi, Conrad and Rick. Rick, has there ever been a time you, or if not, another wrestler on the card with you, promised a young fan maybe earlier in the day that you would do something special for them during a match? Does that make a wrestler nervous in any way? So we've heard, like, in baseball, it would be like, oh, hit a home run for me today. But did you ever see, a time where you had to go visit some sick kids in hospitals or what have
gosh,
you?
Yeah.
And they said, hey, I'm going to do this for you.
When I worked for the company, we did that all the time. WWE is really involved in charitable situations in a lot more in-depth ways than you would think. They're good about, lining up visits at hospitals or kids that are challenged physically or mentally. I mean, they're a very caring organization and very concerned about and take a lot of responsibility to make sure that everybody has an equal opportunity to be entertained in any way they can, whether it's a personal appearance or being able to see the show. They bring so many people in from Make-A-Wish that they don't never get credit for it. They bring everybody in the world from Make-A-Wish in for WrestleMania and bring their families and from all over the world. I mean, those are the kind of things that never go noticed, but if you work there, you're very aware of it.
Here's one from Carl Hayes. He wants to know, what's your favorite song by Darius Rucker? I met Darius Rucker's tour manager and nothing but amazing things to say about Rick.
Oh, well, I like Wagon Wheel.
Yeah.
And he must be talking about Mike. I love Darius's manager. Isn't Wagon Wheel is the one? I think Wagon Wheel is one of the top 5 of all time.
Oh, I believe that. Yeah. I don't think that's
what's the other one he just did last year?
I don't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, I like
Wagon Wheel blew up huge.
Yeah, that's it.
That made him a crossover star, probably.
Yeah, exactly. He was hosting the Emmys and everything, wearing a gold Rolex. I wonder where he got that idea. Or hosting the CMAs. I text him, Rolex wearing. Hell yeah.
I love it. Noso Grande wants to know, A, what's your wildest Von Erich story? 2, what are some of the hangouts in DFW? And C, what are your feelings about getting tattoos of you, and have you ever signed them? You're forever the champ. So let's do them backwards. Has anybody ever, how many Ric Flair tattoos do you think you've seen in your life at meet and greets and things like
1,000.
that? Really?
In my lifetime? Easy.
Yeah. And has anybody ever asked you to sign the tattoo so they could get that signed?
I'm not crazy about it, but I do it. It depends on how they approach me. I don't do it. I only do it at signings. In other words, like
right.
With Ryan.
What's the coolest Ric Flair tattoo you remember? Was there one where you were like, Tim, that's the damnedest thing?
A lot of them will put to beat the man, you got to beat the man on their, like a link to their forearm, and then they'll have my head on it, or they'll have my face on their shoulder, and then 16 times and stuff like that. It's very, I'm very flattered by it, but it's nothing I would do to myself.
What are some of your favorite hangouts?
On my shoulder, maybe, or something like that.
Maybe Kelly.
Yeah.
Maybe we put spring break on there. Hey, what are some of your favorite hangouts in DFW? So besides Nick and Sam's, like back in the day, I know Nick and Sam's.
West End. West
Yeah.
End and Green Street. Hell yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, West End is guitars and Cadillacs, cowgirls, tight fitting jeans, big buckles, cowboy boots. Yeah.
And probably back in the day, big hair, big teeth.
Oh yeah. Love that.
Let's move along. What's your wildest Von Erich story? You know, this is popular again because I guess they're filming a Von Erich movie right now, but
yeah.
You're the king of wrestling parties, and those guys knew how to party. What's your wildest?
Yeah, you know what? They didn't party like that. Though. Look at their parties where they, everyone's aware of the issues they had. They didn't party like we did.
Right.
I really don't. I never really partied with the boys, believe it or not. The demons that followed them around are. That wasn't anything that I was doing, and I to this day. I mean, Michael Hayes and I were there with them all those years, and I just could never figure out why. Michael partied, I partied, the Freebirds partied, but the boys never got together and partied. It's just stuff they did basically on their own or together.
This episode is brought to you in part by TitleMatchNetwork.com, where right now you can take advantage of their holiday special. Save 50% off new memberships with the coupon code CONRAD. That's all lowercase at checkout. This includes every pay-per-view and video on demand. They've got hundreds of exclusive new live streams every year, a near endless amount of pay-per-views, shoot interviews, documentaries, and more. It's one of the biggest collections of women's wrestling content on the planet. Plus, they've got a ton of match originals, including their new interview series with legends like Greg the Hammer Valentine, Sabu, The Godfather, and more. Plus, check out these upcoming pay-per-views. I think Title Match Network is the only streaming platform that's going to bring you the entire WrestleCade weekend. You got RVD and Shane Douglas's live podcast on Friday, November 25th. You've got the WrestleCade Super Show on Saturday, the 26th. And boy, that's the star-studded affair. Eric Bischoff's there, Kurt Angle's there, DDP's there, the Big Show's there. They got Ladies Night Out 11 with Iva Lee, Sue Young, Tessa Blanchard, more. Plus AML Wrestling on November 7th and a ton of other events all month long. It's TitleMatchNetwork.com. It's the perfect gift this holiday season. Take advantage of this holiday special. 50% off all new memberships. Just use our coupon code CONRAD. That's all lowercase at checkout. And if you don't like what you see, just cancel anytime. That's TitleMatchNetwork.com. Coupon code CONRAD, all lowercase at checkout to save 50% on all new memberships. So Rick, we got tons of questions here. I don't think there's any way we'll get to them all, but let's bounce around here because, man, folks are just chomping at the bit to ask you questions. And when it comes to asking questions about the UK, Halil has one. Hello, sir. Number one fan from the UK. Any fun stories when you've been to the UK? Best wishes, Halil. I've met Halil before. He might be the biggest Ric Flair fan across the pond, but I'm sure you had fun over there. Right? Is there a famous story?
No. No. Tell him that, man. I've had fun everywhere in Europe. I don't go places I can't have fun. It follows me. The word fun follows me around.
I love it. What about SummerSlam 92? Allegedly, you had a lot of fun at a hotel bar that weekend. What's the story there?
Well, we were we were in Kensington at the Holiday Inn, and I didn't have to work that week. All I had to do was go out to the ring. Boy, there used to be a place called Stringfellows that was a major nightclub. God, we were there every night. I mean, London's fun, and I had a lot of fun there. I had to get a draw from Arnold Skolin to get out of town.
The good old days.
Yeah, sure was.
Jeremy Priest
just getting paid to go over and have a good time.
That's basically your life for the last 40 years, is it not? Get paid to party?
I can't complain.
No. Jeremy Priest says, I know this may be a tough question, but I think you've had the best promos in the business. Does one stand out as your favorite or most memorable? So, Rick, your most famous is probably how having a hard time holding these alligators down, but you can't pick that one. That's what everybody picks in the mainstream. Is one more memorable to you than some of the others?
Well, the one I got the most compliments on it when I thought was Eric had just beat me the night before in Washington D.C. Right, we wrestled.
Yep.
And we were going to Baltimore, and I just said to Eric, I got a hell of an idea. He said, don't. He said, okay, but don't. What's the one where I took off all my clothes and the mink coat and handcuffed myself? Because when I walk, for Bobby Heenan to look at me and say, that's the greatest goddamn interview I've ever seen in my life, that means it was good.
That's awesome. That was awesome.
That was pretty good.
No doubt. I mean, I don't think anybody was ready for that. And
the one with me and where I was beating myself up with Hunter when Hunter hit me with the hatchet.
That's my favorite.
I just go out there and instinctively just go crazy. There's something wrong with me, obviously. Of course, we've all heard that for years.
Let me remind everybody, this would have been, I think, like October of 2003. I might be wrong on that. Maybe it's October of 2005. Yeah, it's October of 2005. Anyway, the point is you're in a blood feud with Hunter.
Yeah.
And he's attacked you with a sledgehammer. You come out, you got the big bandage on your head. I think it's the brown suit. Yeah. And you start talking about how, he can't hurt you. And you pull the Band-Aid off and like force yourself to bleed again. And you look like American Psycho. And you make sure that there's more of it because you not only rub it in, but you wipe it all over your white shirt. You look like
That's
a crazy person. It's my favorite because I couldn't believe what I'm seeing. That's like out of a horror movie, dude.
I don't know. There's something wrong with me.
Look at that. Look at that. That's not a pay-per-view. That's just a random ass Monday night. Just Rick doing what he does. Unbelievable.
Yeah. Who knows?
That's a pretty memorable one. Maybe we'll tweet that out this week.
I probably lost my Rolex that night too.
It's funny how those come up missing sometimes.
What city was I in?
Well, you got 8 more at home that look just like them. Husker on Twitter wants to know, what important memorabilia have you kept through the years? And do you ever keep any of your own wrestling cards? I know you do not be a big memorabilia collector, but what do you have that you remember?
First of all, you're wrong about that. And you're not basically wrong. All my ex-wives have of my memorabilia.
Okay.
One in particular. I guess they just feel like they can take what they want and leave. You know what I mean? I certainly have some, but nothing like you can imagine that I've, gifts I've been given, plaques, awards, stuff like that for 50 years. It'll be December 10th will be my first match.
Wow.
Unbelievable. It's gone by. I feel great. I've been back out working out with Rob and everything, but the answer to that is, and once again, I've gone into depth with it, because they wanted me to just really open up about things that nobody knew about in my documentary and what, just specifically who took what and how much, and I did.
Wow.
And should be interesting.
Any news on when that will air? Because I know you thought maybe Thanksgiving, maybe Christmas.
You know what? I'm going to find out today, but I'm hearing now between the 25th of in other words, like maybe the end of November.
I got you.
Yeah, they're going to do one more shoot with me watching it, and then add that to it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I got a question here from Brady. He wants to know, when you returned to WCW in September of 1998, was your previous contract voided, and did you sign a new contract upon returning to the company? So this would have been after the big impasse with you and Eric and the whole fire me, I'm already fired. Are you coming back on your old deal or a new deal there?
My old deal.
Yeah. Here's one from Robert. I used to love watching Ric versus Brad Armstrong matches. Ask Ric how good of a wrestler he was and if Brad is one of the most undervalued workers of the day.
Incredible worker and one of the most undervalued performers of all time. Brad Armstrong was a rough draft of Ricky Steamboat.
Okay. What a great compliment. Man, yeah, I love that
rough
phrase.
Draft. He wasn't Ricky Steamboat, but shit, he could do anything. Drop kick in the top of the head, sell. Nice guy. I mean, fuck, what a loss. I used to send Road Dogg. You can watch. I've wrestled Brad for an hour a couple times. I mean, you know, he got put in that position a few times, but and what a great kid. Unbelievable.
Here's one from Chef Akon. Ric, he wants to know, how did you get 2001 A Space Odyssey as your theme? Were there royalties involved? It seemed every company you worked for had a different version. Was there one you preferred?
No, actually, Dusty gave that to me.
Wow.
I don't know. I wouldn't know anything about that. When I got that, I didn't know anything about royalty. I just knew that it was me, Frank Sinatra, and Elvis Presley.
I loved seeing
the big
Elvis
three.
do that one. Yeah, that's awesome. I was actually in a restaurant a couple of weeks ago, and they played Phil Collins' Easy Lover.
Yeah.
And I happened to be with our friend Dave Silva, and I said, hey, do you know what wrestler used this theme song?
Yeah.
And he goes, and he thinks, and he goes, I don't know. And I said, Ric Flair.
Yeah.
No. I was like, yeah, in 86, I've seen tapes.
Yeah, and I used Sharp Dressed Man, too, for a while.
And you did The Wanderer for a bit, you know?
That's because Dion walked into the locker room in 82 in West Palm Beach. The guy that came and got me said, the singer guy named Dion wants to meet you. And I said, no shit. So he came in, he handed me a picture, said, Ric Flair, you are the Wanderer. I wrote this song about you.
I love it.
Somebody was following me. I'm the type of guy that'll never settle down. Where pretty girls are, well, you know that I'm around. Woo!
G wants to know, good day, gentlemen. I remember going to the Philadelphia Civic Center and JCP having an autograph session with the Four Horsemen. What was it like being so popular, but also having the balance of being bad guys?
It was fabulous. It was fabulous. We were popular because we were so damn good.
There you go. Brian Hamilton wants to know, how did Ric like wrestling in Southeastern/Continental wrestling? Does he think Ron Fuller or Bob Armstrong could have made a good touring NWA champion? To my knowledge, this is the only NWA territory where no wrestler ever won the NWA championship.
Do I think Bob Armstrong could have made a good world champion?
Yeah.
It's not that he couldn't have been. I don't think he wanted to travel like that.
Yeah.
But Bob, you know, that there's a reason sometimes people find a place. And I mean, to my knowledge, all the boys still live there now. The family, they find a place and they don't want to leave it.
Right.
And being a world champion meant, I mean, you know my schedule. I didn't go. Sometimes I was home for 6 months at a time. But I think Bob, like, you know, with that territory, the longest drive was Birmingham.
Right.
And you were home every night.
It feels Pensacola is like an underrated wrestling town. You know, you got Usos, Roman Reigns, Scott Armstrong. I mean, there's so many wrestling talent who have either or decided to settle into Pensacola. I think that's where Arn met Aaron, his wife.
Exactly. And I mean, it's Roy Jones Jr., Emmett Smith, Escambia High School. So
crazy.
Yeah.
It's great. Rich O'Mac says, I would love to hear a good Charles Robinson story. Come on, Ric. You got plenty of those, I'm sure.
Charles Robinson. God, I don't have like a really fun story with him. He's another guy that, you know, he likes me being crazy, but he doesn't like to participate.
Well, I can see that.
Like, uh, he's just a great kid. I couldn't begin to say I do have a story, but I could never tell it. I have one, but just God, I mean, the most respectful guy, and
Yeah.
legitimately, there's always a debate about things. Charles Robinson loves going to work as much as any human being alive,
Yes.
and he does anything the company asks of him.
Yes.
It's unheard of to see a
Agreed.
guy that will do anything and to be part of it. And God darn, he's a great referee too. You know what I
Fantastic.
mean?
Yes.
I mean, he someday Charles Robinson, looking at some of the guys they put in the Hall of Fame now, and he needs to be a Hall of Fame. Tommy
Oh,
Young should have been a long time ago.
agree. Corey Lawson says, if you could have Olivia Walker make you one last robe, what would it look like? Or what robe would you have her remake that you could have forever?
The symbol, it would be the peacock robe that Jack Mulligan tore up in 1978. Why I would take that robe. Yeah, I always wanted things to look like it was legit, and I thought that day I said, "Gotta be." He tears up this blue, and it looked like I've just given him the easiest one, the cheapest one. So I said, "This is how stupid I was." Right? I go, "Okay," or how hell bent I was on being the best and doing everything differently, but perfectly. I took my best one and let Jack tear that one up. Oh
The
my God! It took
yellow.
her a year to make it.
Yeah.
Real peacock feathers.
We'll try to find a picture of that one and throw it
Yeah,
up.
it's
But it's
incredible.
yellow one that we're talking about, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
JPW Jr. says, what was your favorite War Games match that you were in and versus what team? Great classic matches when the Four Horsemen were involved. Probably the first one is the most famous, isn't it?
Atlanta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one where JJ broke his shoulder.
Yeah. That's where Hawk animal animal lifted JJ up. Hawk was flying around the ring. Hawk came in last, and he killed every one of us. The last thing he did in the War Games was when nobody even talked about doing animal lifted up JJ, who had no choice, and Hawk dove off the top rope and broke his shoulder.
My God.
What do you do? Nobody could figure out when to get Hawk in. Because Mike was a killer, man. I mean, literally, Mike would come in and he was having fun.
That's so fun. Hey,
We just
Dave,
ran and hit the other side of the cage. We made her work to catch us.
absolutely. You got to play a little cat and mouse. You don't want to get clobbered.
Though I tell you, the one in Miami was cool. We had 30,000 people in Miami at the Orange Bowl.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you like the wrestling outdoors more than indoors? It feels like
No.
indoor makes more noise.
No. I'm an indoors guy.
Dave McClay says, how hard was it to not laugh for the debut of the Shockmaster?
Oh, it was. I I don't even know that I laughed. I was in shock, literally.
Yeah. What do you say?
And I don't know. I don't know what happened there. I think what happened was they tried to raise the setup, and he wasn't aware of it. Fred came through there and went, "Oh my God." It's funny people remember that stuff, but some things are just never going to leave.
I think it was a deal where they did a rehearsal that day, and then they rebuilt the wall, and whatever the contractors did, they put a piece of wood across a 2x4 across the bottom that wasn't there before, clearly not in on the gag. So he did it the exact same way he did the first time, but this time took a little tumble. Jay wants to know, Rick, who's a wrestler that maybe never got a big break, but had all the skills? Maybe someone who's maybe forgotten the time.
Who's a wrestler? Put that up one more time.
Who's a wrestler who had all the skills, but never got a big break? Maybe someone who's been forgotten.
Well, that could be, that would go in the category of like Brad Armstrong. I'll tell you who had so damn much skill, but he just, I don't know what the hell. But Buddy Landell was really good.
Really?
Yeah, Buddy Landell was a damn. I can't tell you he wasn't. He was a damn good worker, but he just couldn't get his game on. Who else was really good that ever got a big break? God, you know that if I had a half hour to think about that, there's a lot of guys that have been really good that never got a big break. For whether it was politics or
Timing.
politics or have work, being in the right place at the right time. Does that make sense?
Yes.
There's so many things that factor into that word break. I heard Kevin Nash talking about it the other day. There's so many politics and even in wrestling, it's just that it's. I feel like somehow if you're really as good as if you're really that good, somewhere along the line you're going to get a break, but it doesn't work like that all the time. Yeah, and, like Nick Aldis, the kid's really good,
Yes, he is.
but he's never gotten that big break. Nothing
Right.
against the NWA, because that's my favorite belt of all time. But the big break will be him coming to either AEW or WWF, WWE rather. Excuse me.
John Osborne wants to know: has Rick ever met Stu Hart, and has he ever been stretched?
Many times. Gag, hey, I understand Gagne trained you. I said, Mr. Gagne? Yeah, Gagne is half tough. I talked to Brett last night.
How's Brett doing?
He's doing good. He's sitting up in Calgary. I don't know how he lives there. He wants the Ric Flair drip, but we can't get it across the border.
I bet we got ways. We'll figure it.
I'm not taking it. I can tell you that.
Ryan from the gym wants to know: can you talk about your training and what is missing from wrestling today that the old school got right?
It's right there in front of you. Psychology. My training today, well, I haven't seen how the kids train, but I know that, it's repetition. Obviously, they lift weights. Obviously, they're in pretty good shape. Shawn Michaels is the greatest professional wrestler of all time, and he's training them, or he's the head of the school. So it just, I guess they have different levels of classes. But
Right.
the biggest thing I think that's missing in wrestling today, because it's you're going to see it in one match here or there, but is psychology.
Right.
Because I think it's just now it's like, one high spot after another, and what means more, what means less. I mean, it's nothing. They work. Everybody works really hard. Everybody's very athletic and gifted and talented. But if you watch it, it just is. You very rarely see anybody grab a hold and hold somebody down, and the shows are timed. It's all about getting commercials in. There's so much that goes into making a live TV show that if people have never experienced it, they have no idea. It's very complicated and very difficult to produce live TV, and you have to hope everybody ends up on the same page. So, it's hard to give everybody individual attention. And sometimes I think that they go out there with a plan in mind that maybe the audience doesn't like.
Right.
And then, you're stuck because you don't know how to get out of that situation unless you have a lot of experience.
Well, speaking of a lot of experience, here's one from Caesar. He wants to know: is there still heat between he and Jerry Lawler? I remember you coming to Memphis and working a couple programs. You are arguably the greatest two to ever step in a ring. Your careers are legendary. I'd hope all was good between y'all. I've never heard of
Absolutely.
heat
I love
between-
Jerry Lawler.
Yeah.
It wasn't Jerry Lawler, it was the promotion.
Right.
Because they had their own promotion, and I was mad at Jerry Lawler at the time, but then I was, that's long since been gone. I think the world of Jerry. We talk on a regular basis, or maybe once a month. But it was just a promotion wanting to protect Jerry because that Jerry was their meal ticket,
Right.
and for Jerry to get beat, and it didn't do them any good.
Seth Hicks wants to know, are there any celebrities you always wanted to hang out with but never got the chance to?
Well, can I just tell you this? I heard that Tom Brady was in Ybor City Sunday night, and I'm mad he didn't reach out. I've met him, but I haven't had a chance to to walk into a saloon with him yet. That's going to happen soon, I hope.
I can't wait for that call.
Oh, me too. You can't wait. You got to be me. He just lives. I can see his house from here. Over in Davis Island.
Is that his house or Giselle's house?
Giselle's got a mansion in Miami now, man. I got all this. I know what's going on.
Okay. All right.
You saw him. He said, awesome. Fucking awesome. Smile on his face, man. He looked like $1 million. I don't blame him for going downtown.
Why not?
I could just show him something better. He needs to come out with me and Gomez instead of going to Ybor City. That's old news.
Maybe get Dino in there and y'all become the four horsemen of Tampa.
Dino's got a new girlfriend. He won't bring her on me.
I wonder why.
Dino, what the hell? You won't bring her on Joe either.
Him explaining that he once had a lady friend who maybe had too much to drink and maybe broke a coffee table, and he goes, I can't have police over here. It's just the best Dino story of all time. Carl wants to know, when was the first time you ever met or spoke to Hulk Hogan?
Oh, but we met in 1979 or 80 in Atlanta TV. Sterling Golden. Huh. He was on his way to Memphis.
Did he have the chest hair shaved up weird back then, or is that before that?
I think that's after. He just was a big, huge guy with phenomenal body, nice kid, always tan. He's still always tan.
Yeah, it's his deal.
He's so vain. He's worse than me.
Spooky Dave says, "What made you get into the cannabis industry? Also, how does Tyson like that Ric Flair drip?"
Mike loves it. Well, I was approached by Chad Bronstein about it, and I've never obviously been against it. I just didn't do it because I was wrestling, number one. Number two, I don't think the company would have approved of it. As a matter of fact, I know they wouldn't have, even though it's become more acceptable. And number three, I just had never had the opportunity. I think I have had one other time before, but it was still like, I mean, it's basically socially acceptable right now. I mean, more and more people. I've found out since I've gotten involved, hell, everybody loves marijuana.
Yes.
I mean, they just do.
Yes.
And the edibles, my God, I mean, for me personally, a guy has been eating Xanax since '89. They got me off the Xanax.
Wow.
Yeah, but I mean, you have to do it proportionally. You just don't do it like yank the whole Xanax. But I've been taking a Xanax a day since 1989.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I've got off, when I was in rehab, I got off it, then I got back on it, so. Rehab, I got off everything for 35 days, and within an hour of walking off the campus, I was back on everything. 35 days, back in 1 hour.
I mean, 5 years ago, I remember the speech was, no, it's just a little red wine. And then, no, it's just light beer. And boy, we stair step our way back in before you know matching again.
God dang it. It was just if I go to the gym and work out, it justifies some of it. I'm going to be 74. What the hell? What else have I got to live on?
Bruce Pritchard and I will still randomly recreate a sentence you said at the bar at Roost Chris in Huntsville, Alabama, about 5 years ago.
What was that?
Forget how old you were at the time. I'll just round up. And I go, I'm 69. I could give a fuck. And we both do that hand point because you were just fired up about something. Like, who gives a shit, guys? I'm old. I'm going to have fun. And I just thought that
it's not just that. It's do you know how lucky? I mean, here's what people don't get. I'm not supposed to be here.
Right.
And like last night, right, I go, I'm watching Bradshaw on this thing, right? And I'm going to myself, and not to bring up a subject, I'm not going to belabor it, but I mean, I've seen it all.
Right.
And I get so tired of people, fans, marks, whatever they are, whatever, in all due respect to them, but they don't have an opinion if they're not there.
Right.
And to me, I'm never going to get off the fact that wrestling is a fraternity.
Yes.
It should be a brotherhood, respect of everybody. And there's no time for anybody to cause anybody personal embarrassment or hardship in our business. There's no place for it. We all know the story on Bradshaw. It's fucking brutal. But he's rewarded by the Hall of Fame. It's their company. They can do what they want to do. But what about the 3 or 4 guys that I've seen melt down personally, melt down and cry? They're so humiliated. So anyway, getting back to the question.
Well, no, let's follow up there. I didn't know you and John had a falling out.
I didn't have a falling out. I'm making an observation.
Okay.
He's always nice to me.
Right.
Here's the idea. Everybody can take a rib and all that, but outright bullying a guy where he feels like shit,
right,
is not healthy.
Right.
It doesn't do anybody good. He's never done anything to me.
Right.
And I guess I'm lucky, but I mean, I wouldn't tolerate it if he did. And obviously, Joey Styles didn't either, from what I've been told. So, it just got to be cut off somewhere. But I've seen people just cry.
Right.
Over humiliation. And we're supposed to be a brotherhood.
Right.
Hey, it's like, I can remember, I've been ribbed, but to me, a rib, too, is also when everybody laughs at the end.
Right. That's right.
Okay, I'm on an airplane flight with Ryan Knobs. And everybody looks at me and starts laughing. And David on the flight, and look at me, and I go, "What? Look at that!" And I go, "Oh no!" And Knobs shaved off my eyebrow. Okay, he roofied me, whatever you call that shit. Yeah. Shaved off my eyebrow, and I started screaming, and then he comes out of the bathroom, which is 2 feet from me. This is on an international flight. And he's going, "God dang, look at Henning got me too." He shaved his own eyebrows. Now, how can I get mad? I was so mad I wanted to quit and go home. But how do you get mad at Brian? He shaved his own eyebrows off. So at the end of the day, I laugh and go, and he blames it on Kurt Hennig, who's not even on the plane. Not that Kurt Hennig hasn't H-bombed a few people. Good Lord. But now he comes out of the bathroom. I mean, you would have died. God dang that Kurt Hennig. He shaved his own eyebrows off.
Who does that?
Brian Knobs. Hey, you saw him at the last. How funny was he at the last match? He told the story about me putting the girl on the phone. He jumped on that bed right away.
What are we going to do with you?
I know how to cheer a guy up.
Oh, yeah, you do. You're not allowed to be down or disappointed or upset.
Hell no.
That won't happen.
Yeah, I ain't got time for that.
No. Rick, I can't believe this is real, but Wooooo Wings, your very own virtual restaurant concept, is now open. Fans can enjoy the legendary flavors and world championship wings by ordering with Uber Eats or Postmates. Wooooo Wings is now open in Nashville, San Antonio, Charlotte, Jacksonville, New York, Tuscaloosa, Huntsville, Concord, North Carolina, Richmond Hill, Georgia, and many more locations coming soon. There's a full list available at RicFlairWings.com. And as a virtual restaurant, Wooooo Wings is always looking to partner with existing restaurants in major metro areas like Atlanta, St. Louis, Raleigh, or Charleston. Tell your favorite sports bar or local restaurant you want Wooooo Wings in your town, and to visit RicFlairWings.com for more information on how to become a partner and add more to their bottom line. If you're a Wooooo Wing city, well, order from Uber Eats or Postmates today and try the only chicken wings worthy of carrying the name of the 16-time world heavyweight champion, Wooooo Wings. Rick, I know that Wooooo Wings and Ric Flair Drip, they're all sweeping the nation. What's next for you? When we spoke last, you're enjoying a few days off. What's next on your travel?
The big event Saturday with Ryan I'll be with Bianca Belair and Liv Morgan for Ryan. Andrade will be there. There's a whole bunch of people there. Then I come back home and do this with you on Tuesday again, and then I head to Vegas with Chad for and Evander and Mike for a big business deal out there. I'm there for 2 days. Then I'm going back. As I told you, Mongo is not doing good.
Right.
So I'm going to go from there to Chicago a day early and see Mongo, and then I sign for Ryan again on Saturday. Then I go home on Sunday.
Well, next week we're going to be back talking.
Week.
Yeah, we got to get you and Leslie together again. December 10th, right around the corner, 50 years. Maybe she'll make you another jacket.
She made me a jacket,
I mean, we got to make that reunion.
Yeah. What are you guys doing Thanksgiving?
Well, we're going to try to invite you and twist your arm and get you to North Alabama. Come on.
Yeah, I don't know, boy. After that LSU loss, I'm not sure about Alabama anymore.
I was waiting on it.
I waited till the end.
Hey,
Number 3, Michigan.
Let's talk about it. Like, I'm pretty excited. I mean, it's cool that Tennessee lost. It's cool that Clemson lost. It's cool that Alabama lost. Like, it looks totally different than it did just a week ago. And that's what makes college football so fun. But now I've seen people say TCU's in the hunt. That can't be. But man, who do you got? Michigan?
I'll tell you what I'd like to see. I'd like to see Georgia and Michigan again, like last year.
That'd be huge, dude.
Yeah. I mean, last year they just couldn't keep up with them, but this is the first quarterback Jim's really ever had since he's been there. And that running back is a different kind of cat, man. They're good.
Georgia just straight up dismantled Tennessee.
Yeah.
I don't know what that says about Tennessee. I don't know what that says about Georgia. Do you think Michigan has a shot against Georgia?
I really don't know the answer to that because I couldn't believe. I thought Tennessee would give them a better game too. I watched all of it.
Yeah,
I've been looking for, there again. I mean, I just like the game period, like you. We always have our favorite, but
yeah,
for me, what I hate is every week it gets shorter.
Yeah.
Then I hate for it to come to a close. Like,
me too.
We got. I forget if we play this week, Michigan. Then we got Ohio State. That's the big one.
That's the big test.
But if they beat Ohio State, who knows? And here's the thing too about Alabama in that Tennessee game. That Bryce Young, to me, he won the Heisman that day. 455 yards, 4 TDs. I mean, his very best in Tennessee still won. So crazy. You can't blame Bryce Young for it.
You think about all the great talent that Nick has brought to Alabama, and there's arguably not been a better player than Bryce Young, but he's going to finish his career without winning a national title.
I know. And how about that linebacker you guys got? What's his name?
Will Anderson.
Yeah, Jesus. I mean, holy cow. You never know.
You never know.
Georgia is just very well rounded, but as is Michigan. If the question will be if Michigan can run with Georgia.
So check out the betting lines here. It looks like the Bulldogs, of course, are the favorite. The Buckeyes plus 208.
Yep.
Volunteers, boy, that's pathetic. Plus 1680.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens, man. That's why we watch these games and have so much fun. And I can't wait to see what's next. But I do want to get your take as we're wrapping things up here. Again, we're going to be talking about Macho Man next week. We saw the Houston Astros, after starting out not so strong against the Phillies, come out and emphatically win the World Series. And
Verlander's strong. And they pitched a no-hitter. Can you believe that?
It was unbelievable.
Yeah, they're going to be there for a while.
It felt like they came out with like a chip on their shoulder. They were ready to prove something. There's lots of talk about, this should be an asterisk or whatever.
Yeah.
They removed all that doubt. But Mattress Mac, a friend of Bruce Pritchard's and a big wrestling fan, a staple in the Houston community, made sports betting history. He got the biggest payout in the history of professional public sports. He won $75 million, Rick.
Wow.
Have you ever met Mattress Mac before in Houston?
I have not. Tell me what he does for a living.
Well, he owns a big furniture store.
Of course I know him. I'm sorry.
And he used to be
he needed the money. The guy's got $75 million already.
Maybe a lot more than that now.
Yeah,
But
my God.
70
I actually work for him. Bruce got me a gig with him.
phenomenal.
Yeah, what a very nice gentleman.
What a story. What a character. Congrats to the Houston Astros. Congrats to LSU for dog walking Alabama. Congratulations to Georgia for stomping a mud hole in Tennessee. And let's pray for the Go Big Blue, because the myth of John Harbaugh will be exposed against Ohio State. And I can't wait.
It's not John. He's the Ravens who kicked ass last night. It's Jimbo.
Listen, I can't get all these loser coaches first name.
Yeah. Well, according to Paul Feinbaum, the SEC genius, the Saban era is over.
All those lies and more.
Hey, on the same note, I love Jeff Saturday. He's now the coach of the Baltimore, right? Yeah. So I'm watching First Take like I do every day, and here's Marcus, the kid that played LSU. Marcus, what?
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
I can't think of his last name. Real nice guy.
Yeah,
D-line. He's cracking on him, saying, he didn't, da. So I want to say, Marcus, I wanted to tweet out. So, Marcus, if they offer you the head coaching job of an NFL team, would you tell them no, that you don't have the experience?
Right.
Come on. It's so much bullshit. Call him out Jeff Saturday because, hey, you know what? I mean, I have all these guys that are cracking on him instead of slapping on the back and saying, yeah, he's the greatest guy in the world. But if someone gave them the job, wouldn't they take it?
Of course they would.
Hell yeah, they would.
Of course they would.
They wouldn't go, I don't know. They wouldn't knock themselves.
No.
Christ.
Well, shout out to the Colts, because they're apparently trying to win Bryce Young, because, boy, they have just fallen off a cliff this year. But congrats to Mr. Saturday. Sorry in advance to the Harbaugh family. I know it's going to be a tough loss.
Hey, I'll talk to you before then, man. We're talking that week.
Oh, yeah. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to kick it off next week talking about the Macho Man Randy Savage.
The Macho Man?
I got to get you involved with this Thanksgiving idea. I got to get you and Leslie back together just, one last time.
Oh, man. I don't know. God. I'm the type of guy that'll never settle down.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you next week right here on
Woo!
The Nature Boy.